Hello everyone and welcome back to Collegedunia Study Abroad. We have another interesting guest with us today, another interesting student who is pursuing her study abroad journey. And today we are going to discuss about the University of Liverpool. University of Liverpool, a leading public research university in UK. It is also a part of the Russell Group Universities, and Saswati is pursuing her MBA from the University of Liverpool. Make sure you're sticking till the end of this video to know everything about the university. We had a very detailed conversation about the university and her campus life and her stay in the UK. She's also pursuing a job right now, so you will be getting a lot of jobs inside as well. Now, without wasting any time, let's move ahead in the video. But if you also have a study abroad dream, go in the description box, click on the first link, fill in your basic details, and our study abroad counselors will reach out to you very soon. We also have two very interesting offerings, the visa guarantee package and the offer letter guarantee package. So make sure you do not forget to check them out as well. Let's move ahead in our video. Hi Shashwati, how are you doing?
Hi Sapnil, I'm great and thank you for having me here. Quite excited to do this.
That's awesome. Shashwati, do you want to introduce yourself to our audience?
Of course, I'd love to. So, yes, hi to everyone. I'm Saswati Mishra. I'm right now working as assistant manager in the Law Debenture Group, which basically looks into global corporate compliances. And I am a student of Masters in Business Administration in University of Liverpool. So I just submitted my dissertation in September, so awaiting results, fingers crossed. A bit about myself. I'm a business graduate from St. Xavier's College. I was never a very studious student. So yeah, I did clear my BBA from University of St. Xavier's College with around 66-67%. I got my interest in corporate law. So after my graduation, I did my company secretaryship. Thankfully, I cleared all the levels at one go with good marks, above average. And then I started working as company secretary in Kolkata first. And then I moved to a pharmaceutical company in Hyderabad. I worked briefly there, and my last stint was with EY. So I worked with EY, headquartered in Gurgaon. I was working from the Noida office, but I was looking for corporate compliances in India and also in Bangladesh then. I had a lot of interaction, and so it was my last stint in India because in around 2022, I finally decided and took the step to move out of India. I got selected in University of Liverpool, and in September 2022, so I started this entire journey of masters, which hopefully should be my last degree once I clear it. I had a lot of fun the entire year and did a lot of part-time jobs as well. But now, thankfully, I am working, and it's amazing.
That's awesome. That's very great. You have a great profile. And just to sum up everything, how many years of work experience do you have?
I have close to 10 years of work experience.
Perfect. So 10 years of working in the corporate world, and then you decide कि चलो अब बाहर जाते हैं and let's do my higher studies. How difficult was it for you to transition from the corporate world to the student life?
I think to take that decision was the biggest challenge because, I was earning good. I was working with a big organization which everybody always want to be associated with. My office and my seniors didn't wanted to leave me. So I did have a lot of pressure point at that point in time, but I would say my family had been like the greatest strength. So generally when you break this news to your parents that you want to move abroad, the first thing is, why a girl? You know how Indians work.
Of course.
But I was so surprised. So when I was talking, this was during COVID, so I gave a call to my parents and I just said, you know what, I'm deciding to move abroad. And my parents were like so excited. So I was like, okay. But yeah, I mean, their support that, yes, if you have taken that decision, you should do that. Actually, let me move on. And I don't know if I was lucky or I was doing the right thing, but I always got like every step very quickly and without any hiccups or any hurdles. So yeah, I think that journey was interesting.
That's such a great thing. I think for all the female audience that we have on our channel,
And for all the females that are going to watch this whole video, this will be inspiring for them. If let's say you want to decide that, okay, now you want to move abroad, start from zero, start from scratch to build a whole life. Do not just hesitate. Just be like Shashwati, take that step, and let's just see what comes along the way.
Of course,
Cool.
definitely.
That's great. Okay, Shashwati, I want to ask, what all exams did you have to give for University of Liverpool?
So University of Liverpool only takes IELTS scores because the entire admission process is based on your SOP, your resume.
Did you not give any GMAT?
No.
Okay, all right. So
It
we'll
was
talk
only the
about.
IELTS.
Okay, we'll talk about. Okay, so what was your IELTS score?
I gave it twice. I think the last was 8.
Okay, all right, 8 bands. Cool.
Yeah.
Now, taking a couple steps back, while you were deciding कि ठीक है मुझे अपनी पढ़ाई बाहर pursue करनी है, what all colleges did you shortlist for yourself? What all countries did you shortlist for yourself? कहाँ पे application डाली, कहाँ से accepts आए, कहाँ से rejects आए? Can you tell me something about that?
Sure. So I started the process with Canada and UK. I applied. I was researching for a few of the colleges in Canada, but I didn't apply for any in Canada because when I was comparing the course structure, I felt that if you are doing an MBA, and I always wanted to do a general MBA, so the course structure in any university in UK was like something that I wanted to go with. It was more holistic in nature. So yeah, then I started applying only in UK. So I applied for Warwick University. I applied for University of Loughborough. I did also for Durham University and University of Liverpool.
Okay, and इनमें से कौन से यूनिवर्सिटी से accepts आए and कहाँ से rejects आए?
So I got through in University of Loughborough with 40% scholarship. I got through in Durham University with 20% scholarship. I got through in University of Liverpool with 50% of scholarship, and I was on waiting list for Warwick University. So I didn't check it after that.
मतलब all in all मतलब सारी universities ने accept कर लिया आपकी profile. And you also got a lot of scholarship opportunities as well.
Yes.
I want to specifically talk about the University of Liverpool ki scholarship, but I think we'll discuss later in this conversation.
Sure.
Now let's say, why did Warwick waitlisted your profile? What do you think the reason is?
I applied quite late to Warwick, honestly, because I was almost done with University of Liverpool and University of Loughborough. So Durham and Warwick were the last two I applied, and honestly, I think what they asked for, the professional experience or something, I was not matching with something or anything, because they wanted something related to the business, and what I have worked in is basically into compliance. So I was into business management role and other things. But yeah, I can only say there were better candidates than me. So I was on the waiting list.
Okay, fair enough. Now, when did you actually started planning about studying abroad? Let's go timeline by timeline. Research करना कब start करा, कितने time पहले? Then वो exams कब दिए, IELTS कब दिया? Then application process कब start हुआ? Can you tell me something about that?
Sure. So honestly, dreaming about it and I'm leaving around those stuff. I actually practically started working on that early 2021. So I would say around February or March was something then I started researching. So I think the thing that helped were the internet searches that I did about the university, the agencies that could help, and also look through some YouTube video, because IELTS exam, you speak in English, you write in English, but somehow when it is an exam, it's an exam. So yeah, I did look for IELTS exams also. So first thing I did was shortlisting the university, because honestly, like I said, I have a very good career and the qualification education wise, so I didn't want to mess it up just for the sake of going abroad. So yeah, so first thing was researching about the university and then starting to understand what their application process was. Then also because SOP forms a very important part when it comes to applying for any abroad university, and I wanted to write it myself, and every university has a different thing. So yeah, so when I
कितना टाइम लगा अपना खुद का SOP लिखने में? And what did you actually write?
Actually, it is surprising that SOP likhne mein I did take a lot of time. I mean, one SOP I think I finished off in like 2 or 3 days, because there are very specific things you have to write about yourself, what you have done till date, why do you want to do your masters, why this university, and how do you think you will be contributing to this university after you become an alum to this university. You never think like that in a daily way.
Right.
So it was very difficult to because this is the document that will let you get accepted or rejected. So you have to think from, even if you are saying what you have done till date, you have to think how that could be aligned with your application process. So yeah, I was like just writing and deleting. Thankfully it was on system, otherwise if I would have written it like on a pen and paper, the entire notebook would have been over. But yeah, I think
पेपर खराब करते
बहुत सारे पेपर खराब होते हैं. Even the one I submitted, I was not sure that that's the best piece that I have submitted. But one thing I did, every university that I have applied, my SOPs were different because the universities are different.
Unique.
Yeah, because this is something that I think everyone should know, because एक SOP बना के you cannot be using it for every university. You should understand the university and then make the SOP.
Of course. That's a great point said. Okay, now moving ahead in your admission process, University of Liverpool के लिए application कब start होती है and what is the deadline, and then how much time does University of Liverpool take to revert about your whole application?
So I don't remember exactly, is there any like a cutoff, but because I started my application in around October, November. So I did submit my application November end. And one thing good about University of Liverpool is their revert back time is like very quick. So by December, I knew that I have an offer from University of Liverpool, which is exactly like a month. So December 2021, I had offer from University of Liverpool and Love Group because I did it together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these were the two universities जिनका सबसे पहले acceptance letter आया?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, because I didn't apply for the others until March 2022.
Acha, all right. Can you tell me how did it feel कि ठीक है, now I've got my first offer letter, and how did you react, your family reacted to this whole news?
So we are like 5 people in the family, and all 5 of us are like quite different. So my thing is, whatever comes first, you should just take it. So when I had applied, so yeah, you have to just accept, but it's not like unless you pay the deposit, it's not final for sure. So I did accept as and when it started coming in. So when it was the first one, and UK and India, the time difference is not like that much. So obviously I got the first offer when I was in office, and I just messaged on my family WhatsApp group. And of course, everybody was excited. I mean, getting into an university after almost like quite a long gap was there.
Of course,
after
a decade gap.
Yeah, so yeah, it was excited. But I remember my sister saying that, you do accept, but make your decision when you have heard back from all the universities that you want to apply to. And that was actually a very good advice, I would say.
So why did you only choose University of Liverpool? Because of the scholarship option? Because you got a 50% scholarship from here? Or was it something else?
Yeah, so I did get 50% scholarship, and I did also get 2 other bursaries and scholarship amounting to 4,800. So of course, monetary wise, it was a very good opportunity for me. But I would also say Liverpool, the way it is like located, it is in a very close proximity to the major cities in UK. So traveling wouldn't have been difficult. It is one of the Russell Group universities, so you only have good things to know. And whenever you read about University of Liverpool, you know how the faculties or the entire staff are helpful to this university. So yeah, I have been researching, because then I had few of my colleagues who were in UK, and I were discussing with them, and they were like all good things about University of Liverpool.
Okay, all right. And the scholarship that you've got, is it a need-based scholarship or a merit-based scholarship?
It's a merit-based scholarship.
How do you got this scholarship? Did you have to apply separately for this whole thing?
No, so one thing good about University of Liverpool is your scholarship, your acceptance, everything is decided basis the application that you make. So they go through entire profile of yours, and basis that they, once you get accepted, they will keep informing you that you have this scholarship, you have the bursary. So it's all automatic basis profile.
All right, perfect, perfect. Now, to quickly sum up your whole admission process, how many SOPs were required, how many LORs were required, and what other significant documents were required for University of Liverpool?
So obviously it was an online process, so the entire application was online. I had to submit one SOP, a covering letter, a updated resume, my educational qualifications, so from graduation till date, and my work experience documents.
Okay.
Along with that, my IELTS scores.
All right, cool, perfect. Now, let's move ahead to when you first landed in Liverpool. How were you feeling? What was the first reaction जब airport से बाहर निकले, and then you got to your university, saw that whole beautiful campus? How did you feel back then?
Yeah, I cannot explain that feeling. It was like a movie going on. You landed in a foreign country and you would be spending a long time in there. So yeah, I mean, it was a mixed feeling that, you'd keep contemplating. But as soon as, my flight landed in Manchester. So I came out from Manchester and I took that train from Manchester to Liverpool. And then you were physically looking at the things that you have only looked in pictures. I'm getting goosebumps right now. So you can feel that, okay, I am in this city now. So I had reached Liverpool only in the evening, so I couldn't do anything much that day except sleeping and just enjoying my first university accommodation. But the very next day, one of my friend and I decided to just explore the place. And the first thing we went was to go to the university. And I saw that original red brick building. And it's so beautiful. Pictures cannot do the justification when you see it with your naked eyes. And the university, the entire campus and everything is like sorted so well. And they know that this is a time when students will be coming. So they keep the city very warm. I mean, everywhere you will get University of Liverpool people just helping out with small coupons or a small donut or a coffee. And well before you have your classes started, they have all fairs to just make you feel easy. And one thing good about my entire thing was I was in a university accommodation. So from the very second day of my stay in the place, I had almost like a gang with me. So we were like together from the start of the day till late hours. So even before we started our classes, we know that, okay, I'm not going to be homesick because I have people. And I think for everyone who is coming, unless they are coming with their family, I would seriously advise them to just go for a student accommodation, whether it be university or the private ones. But student accommodation life is like different. And
of course.
Liverpool is, Liverpool from the footballs and everything, but the place is so different. It has everything for everyone. So it was like cool when I first landed and saw the city for the first time.
Exactly, sounds like a movie. Exactly, sounds so beautiful. I could picture University of Liverpool as well. And talking about the gang that you had on your second day, is this a whole Indian gang, or did you also have some other international folks with you?
Yeah, I did have a few international, but there were like very few. Honestly, University of Liverpool has a lot of Asians. So so mostly it was the Indian gang, but few of them were international as well.
Okay, perfect. I want to talk about your batch size. Size kitna hai and kahan se log aaye hue hain? What and how many Indians do you have in your whole batch?
That is also interesting. So the first time I went to the lecture building, we had a separate lecture building for the MBA student. It was mostly Indian. So so it is basically divided into part-time MBA, Liverpool MBA and football MBA. So in total, I would say it was something around 70-75. But I was doing full-time MBA. So I had something in around 45-50. Majority Indians, but then I had other nationality as well, from Nigeria, from other, and we did have UK students as well from Asian countries like China, Germany. It was a mix, but yeah, majority were Indian.
But even in Liverpool, the majority was not of the UK students.
So other streams that they do have a good mix, but yeah, for MBA specifically, we had a majority Indian in there.
Okay, are UK folks not pursuing MBA or what? They're getting
Could be.
They're getting everything easily, all the jobs easily.
I don't know, or else the reason could be that we Asians are more interested in higher studies, because University of Liverpool has a lot of masters. It has specifically master in management, master in project management. So if you want to do something specifically, you will go there. MBA is the general MBA in here, or football MBA. So majority, if you want from other people, it will be like University of Liverpool for football, or if you want to do general MBA, which people like us would prefer.
Interesting. Now, talking about the faculty that is teaching you, कहाँ से है ये faculty? How renowned are they, and how has been the overall experience with this whole faculty?
So it was honestly a mixed experience, because one thing when you are studying in a European university, or specifically in UK university, is that, and also because you are doing MBA, it's not like you will be taught everything. So how professors is delivering is like one thing, but how you are utilizing the professor is more important. So for example, the dean that we had, he was a strategy professor, and he was like amazing, and also because he was the dean, so he was quite approachable. We had two Indian professors as well. So one had like her connections from Cambridge and Oxford as well. So it was a mixed one. Asian, Indian, UK people were also as the professor, but majority was UK national is what I understand. But overall, I think the professors are like really approachable. Like I said, you have to make the most of the professors and not only the lectures that they are giving.
Okay, all right. Because you mentioned the course and the curriculum part as well, I want to know what all subjects do you have, how many credits do you have first, then how have you divided? I don't think division is required because it is just a 1 year course, right?
Yes.
So how are you going about your whole course and curriculum thing?
So it's divided into like 2 semesters. So we in total had like 13, but first semester 6, second semester 6, so which makes 12 subjects. And then the one part is dissertation, which is like 1/3 of the entire credit. I don't remember the credit, honestly. It has to be like 160 something. But yeah, so you know how their curriculum is. So first I'll answer on the subjects. Like I said, it was a general MBA. So you had everything. You had marketing, you had economics, you have leadership, human resource, accounting, finance, supply chain as well. So it was to give you an entire holistic picture of how a management study will look like. Then we had in the second semester to choose like 2 subjects, which will be your optional. Now the difference is these are not your specialization, just the optional. So among that, we had human resource, we have advanced corporate accounting, we had branding, and we had data analytics. So I did choose human resource and advanced corporate finance. So that was how your entire 12 subjects finds. And then you have option either to do a dissertation or go for a work-based project or have a business plan. So you have to choose between these 3. That becomes, like I said, the 1/3 of the entire MBA that you do.
All right. So back in India, if you go and study for an MBA degree, the course and the curriculum is inclined and influenced very much by case studies.
Yeah.
What's happening in foreign countries? What's happening at University of Liverpool? How are they teaching you things?
So it is almost the same because you are doing an MBA. They will give you a practical understanding, but they also focus very much on the theories. So what a professor said, a basic theory, and then align it with a case study. So it's generally give you examples from the practical world, because we also had like guest speaker coming in and talking about the industry for specific subjects, which actually helped to just broaden your horizon as well. And also a difference is that we have assignments in here for your entire curriculum. Only for few subjects you will have exams, like we had for corporate finance if you would have taken it as optional, but the other entire thing is assignment based.
Okay, all right. In our conversation, you also mentioned that you were initially living in university accommodation. Isn't on-campus accommodation a little expensive if you compare it to the off-campus accommodation?
Yes, it is definitely expensive, but
Why did you take it?
So first thing is, you have that security when you go to a university accommodation. So that was my first understanding or my first criteria. So that's why I went in there. I didn't even check for the private accommodation, to be honest, but I had friends in here. So when I landed in here, I had friends who had family also. So they were staying alone. I had people who are living in private student accommodation, and I was living in university accommodation. But like I've said in my earlier things, that anytime university accommodation is actually a good. Coming to university student accommodation, I think I did a very good decision, because the way they try to mix up people, you can have an number of activities that they keep doing it for the students to just keep them occupied. During Christmas, so obviously the local student will go back to their home countries, but we, the international student, will stay back, and they're like very mindful about that. So they will keep doing some of the activities or keeping a check on us to whoever have left behind. It's not that they will not be taking care. So at the back of the mind, that if you have problems, you can just go back to them. So I think though it is costly, it is worth the money.
That's nice. And also the year is about to end now. I'm sure the whole of UK is going to be very lovely and very vibey during this time of the year. Interesting. Cool. Now we are on the expenses part. So how much is your university accommodation costing you right now?
I'm no more in university accommodation. So I was there till August end. So so when I was in the university accommodation, it was 156 per week. I don't have an idea how it is this year.
156 pounds, right?
156 GBP, yes.
Okay.
Pounds, yes.
It
was per week basis, yeah.
All right. And if you know the average rent that is going around the University of Liverpool outside?
The other student accommodation.
Yes, the off-campus accommodation.
If you go like to a proper place where you have all the amenities, I think you will still have to spend something around 120 to 140 per week to have a decent place with all amenities.
Okay, all right. And asking about your tuition cost, how much are you burning on your tuition cost right now?
So MBA was £29,000, the actual one, but since I had like a scholarship and bursaries, other things, I only had to pay something around £12,000 for my tuition fee.
Okay, so exactly scholarship kitne amount ki thi and bursaries kitne amount ki thi, if you can explain.
So I had a 50% straight deduction from the tuition fees. And then I also had in total of £4,500 deducted from the tuition fees, which included 2 bursaries and scholarships.
Achha, all right. And all of this was given on merit based and nothing on a special request, right?
No, I didn't do any request. And I think the other people also, they didn't do any request.
Okay, but if you're aware, does University of Liverpool has any financial based, any need based scholarship or any aid package for that?
So I have no idea about need-based scholarship, but the year we came in, it was a very difficult time for UK as well. So university did have a fund or they started a process wherein if you were having difficulties in paying your expenses, so you could go to and apply for that. So they were helping out few students. Plus they have like pantry system where you can register yourself and you get cheap things from in there. So they did try to help the students whoever applied for those things.
Okay, all right. Now, because we were talking about the accommodation, I want to understand what other expenses you are doing in a month, and monthly expense kitna hota hai for an international student?
So I'm not the type of person who keeps a budget, but I would honestly tell you, except the rent, your major part goes into grocery. So when I came in I was never buying groceries per week basis, but yeah, it was something around. If you even spend like £50, you get a good amount of grocery per week. And also because I was registered in the students' pantry, so I was getting things cheap. So your basic needs basically is your grocery that comes, and the other things that you will be requiring, unless and until you are like eating out every day. It's not that expensive, at least in UK, because you have stores in here which are like quite cheap, and you can go in for those things. They have offers coming in. Yeah, but then I was doing parties and all a few times the month, so obviously there were like few additional expenses that was going on. But honestly, it's manageable if you have savings or if you are doing part-time. So if you have a good part-time, it's quite manageable here.
All right, I'll come to the part-time thing later, but I want to understand. Let's say if I'm there as an international student, and one weekend I'm going out to eat out, or maybe have a couple of beers. How much will I be spending in a night for a very normal outing?
So yeah, so we always used to go to places like which were decent, good with food and beer. So I don't think we spent more than 40 or 50 pounds per head, and we were like quite full and had fun.
Okay.
The drinking part, I would always suggest everyone that yeah, it is like good that you're going to a pub and drinking having a few drinks, but I think if it is more cheap if you just buy the drinks and have all those pre-boozes before you're going to a party, that's very economic.
That's I think that is the Indian jugaad that we
I know.
all do back in India as well, and even in foreign countries as well. Interesting. So putting a pin down to a number, एक महीने में कितना खर्चा होता है, including the rent, including the bills that you have to pay, the electricity, the water bills, the grocery as well, and some miscellaneous expenses as well. एक number बताओ मुझे.
I would still say around 250, and like asterisk mark, my accommodation fees that I was paying 156 per week was inclusive of all bills and utilities, so I didn't have to pay anything extra. But this 250 might go like 300 as well if you have utilities and bills to be paid separately. But 300 is a very comfortable number for a month.
Okay. Right now you're living outside the university off campus. So अभी ये 250 pounds से ऊपर बढ़ा है कुछ?
Too much. And my accommodation fee rent is right now 600 pounds, but again it is inclusive of all taxes and utilities. So again I'm spending only around, and I travel to a different city for my office as well. So I think 1,000 is a number that I keep for myself, and I have been able to stick to that 1,000 pounds.
Interesting. That's good. So you mentioned that you're traveling to some other city for your office. What is the scenario over there? Are you doing a part-time job?
Right now, I'm not doing part-time. I am a full-time employee.
Okay.
But when I was in University of Liverpool, I did do a lot of part-times, and yeah, I had to take trains and go to different places for that.
Chalo, before we talk...
I think basis the number when I was coming, I think you asked for per month, I guess.
Yes.
What I said in 300 was basically because 156 is only per week rent. So you do around 200 per week. So it goes to like...
All
yeah.
Right.
All of a sudden it's because we don't talk about per month here. So it was like quite crazy.
अभी यहाँ पे अगर students को मुझे एक हिसाब किताब देना है तो वो महीने के हिसाब किताब से ही समझेंगे.
Yeah, so I think it is 200 you can say per week. So again, you just have to 800 or 1,000 is again cool.
So I think 800 to 1,000 pounds is a comfortable number that an international student should keep with themselves.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Talking about the part-time jobs that you were doing while you were at the University of Liverpool, what all did you do? How much were you earning? How many hours were you working? Can
So
you
we have a
elaborate on
limit. Yeah, so we will have a limit of 20 hours per week during your term dates. So I did work in warehouses. I worked as teaching assistant for a brief period. I was also working as a student ambassador for some private companies. I think in a warehouse, you can easily earn something around 150 to 200 for your per shift that you get, because the pay rates are generally high if you're working over weekends as well. For
that?
teaching assistant is generally 75 to 100 pounds per day. And obviously you are only working for like 20 hours, so you can only do 2 or 3 shifts. So I think in a week it is very easy to earn something around 250 to 300 pounds.
All right. That's fair enough. Okay.
Yes.
And now coming to the full-time job that you have right now.
Yes.
How did you find this full-time job? How difficult was it for you as an international student to look for a job?
So honestly, it is quite difficult because first of all, the visa problem. When I started doing, obviously, I'm still on a student visa. So most of the organizations will not hire you on a student visa, and also if they are not eligible sponsors, they would not want to have you. But I would say for everyone, and like I did, I started applying quite early. So I got this job in July, but I had started applying in from January 2023. So it took almost like 6 months for me to get a proper job. And thankfully, there are like agencies in UK which are like really helpful, and they are like agencies for specific roles that you want. So for example, I wanted a chartered secretary role, and there are organized agencies that only work for that. So I took their help, and they are really helpful because they kept a track of all the companies that I can apply, start the application process, and set the interviews for me. So there were companies which didn't even wanted to take the interview because they knew that I'm a student. But I went for quite a lot of interviews as well, and yeah, I got selected in 2, and this was the only one that was like giving me the opportunity to just start ASAP.
So how many applications did you have to put in to get your first reward?
Honestly, from the day I started, which is like January 2023, per day I was sending around 20 to 50 applications just to get unfortunate email the very next morning. So for every 50 applications that you make, I was only getting 2 or 3 reply backs.
Okay.
So
And that too, they were of rejections, right?
No, so you get rejection from the entire 47, I guess. 2 to 3, they would only talk that, okay, we can have the interviews and we'll see the visa thing. So it's not even going to the interview stage. So since I have started the process, I only had 10 to 15 interviews, and I do not even now remember how many applications I have made. So it is quite difficult for us, but you have to be on the right track. It's not that you will not get, you just have to, we say a number that you apply to these number of jobs, but that also makes sense only if you're applying to a specific thing that you want to do. So so we had, like in MBA, we had the career coaches. She was the one who told me that you should actually have these things very clear, that whether you want to apply for this job, just because you are an MBA, you cannot be applying for all the roles. So which role you are applying for becomes very important, more important than the number of applications you are making, and the CV for sure.
Right. So while you were applying for full-time jobs and you were getting back-to-back rejects, how difficult was that time period for you, and what was going through your head during that time?
That's, I would say, was one of the most scary situation, because in one hand you have your assignments and you have your classes going on, and in the back of the mind you are only thinking that what will happen after September 2023, because you know, the part-time jobs are good, you can survive and everything, but you have paid in so much of money, you know, at the back of your head you have a student loan to pay, and only a full-time proper job can help. And we as an Indian international student, because we come from a background where we have worked, we have to get that job, full-time job. So for me personally, I was like very nervous and very upset about the entire 5 months when it was not happening. Every time I was sitting for an interview, it was like very glorious because they were like praising and everything. But after that, when you hear that, okay, you are a great candidate, but we have someone better than you, it was a very demotivating phase for me. But you just have to forget the rejections and move on.
How much student loan were you having on your head?
I had in INR around 18 lakhs.
कहाँ से लिया student loan and कितना interest rate?
It was from ICICI. I think it was around 12%. My father did the entire loan processing and everything. So, but yeah, it was something around 12%.
Okay. Have you now paid off the whole of the student debt, or what's the situation right now?
So yeah, that discussion is going on with the bank because I'm still on the moratorium period. I can only have the option to pre-close, which is not chargeable. So yeah, I'm planning to just pre-close it.
Okay, all right. Talking about international students, काफी students loans लेते हैं, right?
Yes.
If somebody is coming to UK, specifically to University of Liverpool, around कितने time में वो अपना loan pay back कर सकता है? What do you think would be the average time?
I think even if you get, I mean, it depends upon whether you have got a scholarship or not. But I'm just taking an example of people who have not got a scholarship because the tuition fees is huge. It's 29,000, right? So I think you would still need 2 to 3 years to pay back. And this I'm telling you basis experience of the Indian students that I have been talking to who have passed on earlier. So within 2 to 3 years, you should be able to comfortably pay back your loan.
Okay, all right. Now talking about the placement and the CTC and the packages that come out of University of Liverpool. Firstly, of course, no foreign university is guaranteeing you a placement thing like we do back here in India.
Yes.
But if you know anything, what was the highest package that went out from your batch? What was the average package and what was the lowest package?
So for my batch, it is really difficult to say because I'm the one who has got like a proper job as of now. Rest who have gone back working are those who are already in their own family business, or they have gone back to their own country. But basis my alums, I can say that your starting salary will be around like 40 to 45,000 pounds, depending upon how much of experience you have. Because I do know people with a salary lower than that, but obviously because they have a minimum wage thing, so you cannot get lower than 25,000 pounds. So 25 to 40 maybe log hote hain, but after MBA it should be generally 40 to 45 as starting.
Okay, all right, cool. So how does it feel to be earning in pounds and maybe spending in giving back the money to your family, and those guys are spending in INR? How does it feel?
I've not started doing that, honestly.
You're not giving any funds to your family back?
No, because it's only been like 2 months I have started my job. So yeah, it's one thing because I keep dreaming that whatever I'm saving, when it goes to INR, it will be like more. So obviously they can have that fun, or when I go to India for a vacation or something, that I can have that fun. But yeah, honestly, right now I'm just collecting that money to just foreclose my bank loan. And it is good because whatever I'm saving, I can actually have that big amount to just pay that off. So it is actually cool because for the first few months I was transferring INR into pounds, and it was like whatever you transfer, you're not having enough. But now that it has gone back, it is a very good feeling.
Of course, of course. So, let's say you have started working for 2 months now, and I'm sure आप अपने लिए दिल खोल के खर्चे करते ही होगे वहाँ पे. But 2 महीने में भी savings हो पाती हैं. And if you are comfortable telling us your approx CTC that's out there, उसमें से कितना amount are you saving and कितना amount is going, okay, not going back to the family yet, but how much are you spending, how much are you saving, what's about that?
So because I'm right now in probation, so per month it is something around £2,000 that I'm getting in. Because I told you about my rent, which is like 600, and all my expenses to like 1,000. And I do keep something for my small trips or the parties that I do. So still I can comfortably, I'm being able to save around 300 to 400 pounds per month, which is just like getting into a fund to repay the loan that I have.
That's interesting. That's very nice. Very nice. So I think for all the students who are, aspiring to go study abroad, or maybe specifically study in the University of Liverpool, I think Saswati's story of studying abroad can be very inspiring and can give you a lot of detailed insights कि ठीक है किस time पे हम क्या कर सकते हैं as an international student and क्या नहीं कर सकते हैं. Cool. Okay. Saswati, I would like to play a rapid fire round with you. My only request to you is just be rapid with your answers, and I hope they're fiery as well.
Hopefully.
Cool. Are you ready for a small rapid fire round?
Okay. Yes.
Cool. All right. So my first question is, tell me a pro and a con about University of Liverpool.
Pro will be the atmosphere of the entire place, Liverpool. And con will be your assignment, because you are not used to the assignment-based culture.
Okay, all right. Tell me one thing that you would like to change about University of Liverpool.
Get a placement which actually works like the Indian colleges.
Isn't that all the Indians speaking out,
Yes.
speaking their hearts out, no matter whatever country they're studying in, but सबका ये एक feedback है.
Yeah,
Cool.
I know.
Okay, fair enough. What is your favorite hangout spot within the campus, University of Liverpool?
There is a uni square, which is basically an open space, and you have career studio at one place and something which is called guild, which is basically student support. That place is like the coolest place in the university. You can just see a cathedral, which is like beautiful. So yes, it has to be uni square.
Perfect. All right. Tell me a con about your program.
Con is few of the professors whom we couldn't understand, and somehow we have to use our brains to just do the assignments.
What do you mean by that? You don't understand? Was there a language problem or
No.
teaching style?
So it was basically because they thought that we should know everything, and it was only a presentation that was going on and just reading through the presentation. But they should have understood that every person do not come from the background that specific subject was being taught to, and that subject was specifically difficult. So we did also raise that issue with our own dean as well, that they should understand and not just read through the presentation, but all explain few stuff.
So are they not open to feedback or what? Did they
They
change
are,
their
they are.
behavior?
They are. So they are doing something. Obviously, they will not make it official, but they did guarantee that they are doing something so that for this batch, 2023, 24 and onwards, the student do not face those problems.
Cool. Okay. My next question. Tell me top 2 economical places around University of Liverpool where an international student can go and hang out, have good food, good music, or a couple of places.
So for food, I would say Bakshish. I have been going to that place for a very long time, and I just love that place. Like I said, I don't go out for drinking. Drinking always had happened inside. And so any place, I think, in the city center are quite cheap, except few of the heavy ones. For desert place, I have a very good one, which is Dumas. It's like the most amazing Turkish cafe you can have in Liverpool.
Perfect. Bakshish and Jumas.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Cool. My last question. Out of 10, try and rate University of Liverpool.
8.
8. Why are you cutting 2 marks?
2 marks again because they do not have a proper placement, not proper placement, but the career stuff. Because if you're coming as a master's student, their main career program, I mean, the career studio that they have are specifically designed for undergrads. People like us, like specifically Indians who are coming for masters, they do have work experience. I don't feel that they are like quite equipped to help us with the things, because we know exactly the same that the career studio people are telling us. Second, I would say that because of few of the professors that I had, we had problems with. I think that was something was not very helpful. But yeah, overall, it's a good place.
Okay, all right. So Shashwati has given University of Liverpool 8 out of 10 stars. And I think this conversation is very insightful and is very valuable to all the viewers that are going to watch, or all the aspirants that are going to plan their higher studies in UK or in Liverpool specifically. Cool. Thank you so much for giving us your time, Shashwati. Do you have any final words that you want to say out to the aspirants?
Yes, definitely. So, like I said, this taking a decision of studying after a good career or after a career for sure, and that too in an international place, is a very challenging decision. For all the students who want to go abroad to study, I want to just tell them that do take that plunge. Dreams do come true only if you start acting on that. And I think more so for the more than the students, I would say the parents, that please allow them to take that step and let them have this feeling of how international life as a student is, because it's amazing. You learn so many things and you make friends, you have different cultures to live with, and it's an experience that will just live in your life. So please do take that step, but make the smart decision of which university you are going, which country you are going, and make most use of it.
Perfect. That is the most perfect note that we can end this whole conversation at. Thank you so much, Shashwati, for doing this. I hope you have a great life ahead in UK, and thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, so that was everything about the University of Liverpool and Shashwati's journey of studying abroad. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, you feel कि और क्या जानना है मुझे इस यूनिवर्सिटी के बारे में, comment section में type करो. I will try to cover everything in the next video as well. Or if you have any general study abroad queries, type those in the comment section as well. I will try to respond to all of those questions. I will be seeing you in the next video. Till then, this is me, Swapnil, signing off. Bye bye.